Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Austin Phillips here, and for my mythological creative project, I decided to retell the story of the Raven in poetic form. So here we go. As you can see here, this is the original text from the book. What I did was I went stanza by stanza or line by line and recreated this in a poem form. This did take a lot of time, but it was well worth it, and it was a lot of fun. So this is a stanza that I recreated in poem form. If you want to push pause and read it, you can, but I also cover this portion in a little animated short that I created as well. So we won't go over that one, but I will go over this one. So if you guys want to sit back, close your eyes, and envision the poem, or you can sit here and stare at the screen while I read it to you, that works for me too. But that's not the end of the story, for I have more to tell. The next day I cried again, until they thought I might kick the pail. Until my grandpa finally said, "Untie the next one and give it to him as well." Now I was thinking, this is swell. I got another bag, and I wonder if this one flies as well. So I rolled it around and then let it go, and sure enough, it went straight through the smoke hole. But this time it wasn't sparkles of light that filled the sky, but a giant yellow sphere that floated past where no one could fly. So you're welcome for it. It was I, the Raven, that gave you the moon. But the story is far from over, as you'll see very soon. There was still one item that I had to get from the old man, a box that held the light, which was the final piece to my master plan. So again I began to cry. I cried so hard that my eyes began to change color, and everyone in the room was thinking, "Are you sure you're this child's mother?" But the grandfather loved me, just as he loved his daughter, so he gave me the box, although it made him sad. Then I let out a caw and flew through the smoke hole as a final peace out to my loving granddad. Now, after all of this, I was feeling pretty thirsty, but there was no water on the earth, so it looked like I was at Petrel's mercy. Petrel was the man who had an everlasting spring of water, except he kept it for himself and always had it covered. He even slept next to the thing, so I knew I was going to have to be sneaky. But since he wasn't falling for something easy, I knew then that I'd have to get cheeky. In more ways than one. So while he was sleeping, I rubbed his bum with dog feces. Then I woke him up and said, "Petrel, you defecated in your sleep." So then he went outside, which gave me a chance to get a drink. I was so thirsty that by the time Petrel got back, the spring went from full and glistening to empty and black. I then let out a caw and tried to fly away. But Petrel sicked his spirits on me, which had me stuck in place. Petrel then built a fire under me, covering me in smoke. And this is the next portion of the text that I'm going to be covering. Gotcha! You thought I was going to keep going. Don't worry. Give you some time. You can kind of read over this or push pause if you'd like. But we're going to jump right back in, because this is getting exciting. And although I didn't drop the water, I was now covered in soot-colored cloak. The spirit finally let me go, and I flew away. As I was flying, I let some water drop from my mouth, and this is why you have the rivers running from the north and the south. And this is going to be the final portion of the text that I cover. But now I know this is a lot, but the story is almost finished. Let me now tell you how the bears got separated from the fishes. I first came to a town where no one had seen the light, and these people were fishing in the dark-covered night. All I wanted was to cross the river bank, which I didn't feel was too much to ask, but the people wouldn't help me, so I threatened to open the box and give them a blast. Then they asked me, "Where are you from? Do you come from far up the Nos where lives the man who has daylight?" Appalled by their question, I opened the box just a slight, and out came a beam that gave them such a fright that it nearly knocked them over, which filled me with delight. I then shut the box quickly, but the people were enraged. They then began yelling, "Throw this bird in a cage!" Let's just say I didn't handle these comments well, so I opened the box completely, and like a bat out of hell, flew a sphere of light that pulled this cold world from its nocturnal shell. As this beam of light rose, I looked around across the creek only to find that some people had transformed, the ones wearing animal hide. Those wearing land animal skins were already in motion, while those wearing skins of sea creatures were already in the ocean. So that, my friends, is how things came to be. It was I, the Raven, who gave it all to thee. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Here's a little animated short I made from the first stanza. Yeah, you guys enjoy. Growing up, I was told I would be given the strength to create a world. But as I tried and tried again, my vision got blurred. Then one day, I had an epiphany. I realized what I had to do to stake my claim in history. See, the world had no light, but legends were told. Of a house up the Nos lived a rich man who harbored the light as if it were gold. So I conceived a plan to make the light mine, and to share with the world and pull back the blind. See, the rich man had a daughter who appeared to have no children. So I thought to myself, if she gave birth to me, then I could be their kindred. I then made myself very small and dropped into the water in the form of a small piece of dirt, only for the daughter to swallow me whole, and so my plan could begin to work. And just like that, she was pregnant with me, and soon I would have light for the whole world to see. For 9 months I waited curled up in her uterus, and after a while I thought, I could get used to this. The woman then tried to push me out onto a bed of rich fur, but I wasn't about it, as the woman observed. The rich father was sad because I wouldn't come out, so he suggested placing moss in the hole to deliver the little sprout. I then came out, my eyes bright and moving rapidly, as I was adjusting to this new world around me. Now I dwell in the house up the Nos, where round bundles of various shapes hung from the walls. As I grew, I cried and cried for attention. When they would look at me, I would point at the bags, knowing my intention. What they didn't know was that I was the raven, and I could cry for days without the slightest caving. So I did. I cried for days until Grandpa couldn't take it. And then he told my mom, give him the bag of stars hanging at the end and let him play with it. Once handed the bag, I wouldn't let it go, until one day I rolled it too much and it flew straight through the smoke hole. And then all of a sudden up in the sky, pocket-sized glints of light began to fly. So if you ever looked up in the sky and wondered how, it was I, the raven, that arranged the stars as you see them now. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed my creative project.